Look, everyone knows that this thing is a disaster. It feels like there's a recession on the way. Supply chain, gas prices, just the whole thing is just an absolute mess. But we do have a black lesbian press secretary. That's the most important thing. Her name is Karine Jean-Pierre. And Peter Doocy, who is a rare journalist that I don't have to put air quotes around, he asked her about inflation and what's going on outside of our borders as well.
Why is the president saying that inflation is worse everywhere but here?
Because what we have seen across the globe, first of all, inflation is a global challenge, as we have said. It is caused by clearly the pandemic, this once-in-a-generation pandemic that we are coming out of, and also most recently the war that Putin started in Ukraine that has caused inflation as we look at food and as we look at gas prices. So if you look at globally other countries, and if you look at where we are economically, when you think about the Group 7, the G7, we are in a much stronger place than we are economically than the rest. And also,
I did look globally though. He says that inflation is worse everywhere but here. That's not true. U.S. has worse inflation than Germany, France, Japan, Canada, India, Italy, Saudi Arabia.
Well,
so why is he saying that?
I think what we are saying is that when you talk about inflation, it is a global thing. And it is not just about the United States. This is something that everyone is feeling because of coming out of a once-in-a-lifetime pandemic, because of the war that Russia has started in Ukraine.
So I love her tell there, which she does all the time, which is what we are saying or what we are trying to say. It's not the truth. It's just what we are trying to convey to you to hide the truth mostly. Jedediah, let me start with you here. She blames the pandemic. Remember COVID? That was a thing for a while. And she blames Putin, of course, Putin's war. No responsibility. These people don't seem to blame perhaps the printing of all the money.
Yeah, that was an interesting moment there. He asked her a question. She's like, Putin, you're just vomiting out word, pandemic. I mean, it's a terrible job. Listen, to have to defend Joe Biden, have to get up there and lie every day for Joe Biden, who doesn't even know where he is half the time. Not an easy job. I'll give her that. The thing is, people feel this stuff. So her sitting there and saying, oh, inflation, it's not really a thing here. It's more a thing other places, and trying to invalidate what people's experience is isn't going to work. Democrats always love to make people feel dumb, like, oh, you're dumb. You don't know what's up. They want you to be dumb. They hope you're dumb, because if you're not dumb, you're not going to vote for them. But the reality is that people don't people buy stuff? They go to the grocery store. They buy stuff for their kids. They see those prices going up. So you're not going to delude people with a ridiculous answer like this. And suddenly they're going to say, oh, well, she said it wasn't a big deal, so obviously it's not. No, that's like saying, oh, gas prices aren't really going up. You go to the gas station, you fill up your tank, you have eyes and ears, you're not brain dead. They're relying on you to be brain dead, because if you're not brain dead, there is no way in hell that you would vote for these people. So I feel a little bit bad for her. I'm not going to lie. Not an easy job, but come on, man. People feel this stuff. Own up. Take some responsibility for all the stuff you did. This is like saying, oh, this is their part 2, Dave, of, oh, if you get the vaccine, you won't get COVID. Come on. Enough with the lies. Time is up.
Jedediah, I know you were always kind of red-pilled, or as long as I've known you, you've been red-pilled, but I think you were like doubly red-pilled this morning. Liz, to her point, do you think anyone is buying this nonsense? I mean, I get it. We're all somewhat like-minded, so we can see through this stuff. We can explain it honestly. But do you think that anyone is watching that and not making that connection between the price at the pump or when they go to Home Depot, as I was at yesterday, and just buying 2x4s or literally anything, that prices are sometimes double, triple, if not more? Do you think anyone's buying it?
No, and funny that you mentioned Home Depot, because literally when we're sitting here, my husband's at Home Depot right now, and his electronic receipt just popped into my phone because it's attached to my email address, and the price is astronomical. That's the thing. It doesn't matter what your ideology is. When you go to the gas station and it costs $100 a week to fill up your car to commute back and forth to work, to take your kids to soccer practice or school. It doesn't matter if you're a Republican or Democrat. The takeaway that I got from that video, though, I get this like secondhand embarrassment for Karine Jean-Pierre, because, say what you will about Psaki, she was a lying hack, but at least she was good at it. At least she was skilled at it. But Karine Jean-Pierre is like so relieved when she can actually regurgitate one of these answers without checking her binder first. When the answer, she's like, oh, wait, I know that one. I actually know the talking point here. it's the pandemic and it's Putin. There, I got it. Doesn't matter to her if it's the truth. It is, of course, false. There's a really interesting organization called the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. It actually is comprised of 37 democracies around the country, and they compare, or around the world, I mean, they compare data on their economies to see, like, if a trend is happening in Germany or in the United Kingdom. Is it happening here? Is this an isolated trend or is it a global trend? And according to this organization, the United States is facing inflation at 2 times the rate of the other 36 nations that are in this global cooperation group. And so to blame it on the pandemic and to blame it on Putin makes absolutely no sense. When the pandemic impacted the entire globe and Putin has impacted the entire globe, why would we in the United States be facing double unless, Dave, it was because of Joe Biden's policies that just impact us here?
So, John, to that point, even if it was the war and Putin, and even if it was the pandemic, and 18 other things that he could excuse away, is it not the job of the president to respond to things like that well and make sure that the ship doesn't sink?
I mean, it would be if he wasn't asleep in Delaware at his beach house. Look, every time...
Which is where he is right now.
Which is where he is right now, right? Yeah. Every time I listen to Karine Jean-Pierre, Tracy Chapman of the White House, her identity politics, or the guiding light of her appointment, all I can think of, Dave, Jedediah, Liz, is that scene in Billy Madison where the principal says everyone is dumber for having to have listened to the answer. And they treat us like we're idiots. Look, I paid $6.20 a gallon for premium in Boca Raton yesterday. That same station was 50 cents a gallon cheaper last week. These are astronomical price increases. And as Jedediah and Liz note, people are going to the supermarket. They're going to Home Depot. They're going to the gas station. All the lies in the world about Putin and global economic conditions, they're not able to sell it.